So tonight we're going to continue with our topic in prayer. And as you know, we have entered into a period of 3 weeks שחכמינו אמרו, הפכו ימים האלו לששון ולשמחה לישראל, that these days will become a joy and a celebration for everyone. This is the 3 weeks where we focus on the reconstruction of the third temple. Our sages state that those that are busy with the study of the laws concerning the temple, it's like they were building it, okay? The same way that Chikorim Korbanot, like when we read the different sacrifices or the incense in the prayer, it's like it's considered on high as we have actually performed them. So this coming 3 weeks, B'ezrat Hashem, we will focus a big part of the study at the Noahide Academy, and of course you all know how much you are all welcome and invited to participate, to put your insights and knowledgeable, and your insights are precious to bring the redemption to the entire world. So we'll be focusing in the laws concerning the temple, how the Noahides will participate in it. Everybody's welcome to do some research on his own and to share his own personal findings about the temple. I would like to mention one particular aspect that we discussed this morning with Angelique regarding the participation of the Noahides in the third temple. Be'amei Be'ameinu should be hastened in our days. B'ezrat Hashem, we are the generation who's going to see it. Kipshuto mamish in this physical world. I will not go into all of the lengthy discussion. There's many, a lot that one can learn, definitely, and maybe at some point we will maybe organize an in-detailed discussion of the temple, of the third temple, which has a significant difference with the previous 2 temples, right? What you're seeing behind me, well, here in the conference, not on the Facebook, is the Kotel HaMa'aravi, is the occidental, the western wall, right? Which remains from the structure of the Arabite, the temple of the house, literally. Of course, there's the esplanade. There's the great space that was conceived by Shlomo HaMelech when it's a mountain, right? But then he made tunnels in order to design this platform. So this platform will be expanded in the third temple to 3,000 amot, according to the vision of Yechezkel. I can show you a picture here, an idea of the proportions. Okay, so you can see here the platform on top of Arabite, and actually the temple, you see it is on the side. It's not in the center like the first and the second house. It's on the side. And all of this area will be able to contain, even though it's not easy to conceive in one's mind, but will be able to contain 9 million people standing. If you make the calculation that every person occupies about 40 square centimeters when he's standing. So, of course, this is the maximum capability. So maybe we will not be standing there 9 million, maybe we'll just be standing there 4.5 million, which is fine. You know, we can do rotations. Not everybody has to go up at the same time. But note that the temple is on the side. And this allows us to understand that the function of the third temple, which is called a house of prayer for all nations, which is the gate, the physical gates to heaven, where eternity and the temporal meet. Okay, that's what prayer is, that meeting between infinite and finite. You see that it is no longer mamish in the center, as the third temple function will no longer be like the first and the second, which functions were to establish a certain rectification of the reality. The third temple will be the expression of the rectified reality. So we will no longer be praying to ask for health or finances or children, or that the kids in Africa should have what to eat, etc. We will no longer be asking for that. Prayer will be a natural expression of the human existence. Okay, as prayer is actually now the communication being inversed, right? Up to now, to the second temple, we are asking Hashem. Prayer is used as asking Hashem to rectify our reality if something is missing. So we ask Him to provide for what is missing. The third temple will no longer serve that function. The third temple will actually be the expression of a perfectly rectified reality, where nothing will be missing, and the exaltation of our Creator will be our continuous experience. Yafe. There's much that can be discussed. But there's one particular point that, before we go actually into the prayer itself, I wanted to bring, which is concerning a specific set of doors, okay, which are part of the temple, which allow the access from the Zat Nashim to the Azara, to the women's courtyard into the area where the Kohanim are doing the korbanot, are doing the sacrifices. Yeah, those doors, which are very high, 20 amot, 10 meters high. You can see here an image depicting that. Oh my goodness, no, it's too small. I'm not going to be able to show you here with the thing. But you will see the post in the Noahide Academy. I'll make sure of posting pictures that depict different parts of the temple and these doors. These doors have a very particular story, as you might have heard. I'm not going to go into all of the details, but it will be in the Noahide Academy, as they were actually brought to Jerusalem by a Noahide called Nicanor. Nicanor was an Egyptian that one day came to the realization that he also wanted to contribute to the house of Hashem. And there's the interesting story that when he was carrying the doors, when he came by boat, by ship, from Alexandria to Ashdod, to the port, one of the ports there, there was a storm, and they started throwing to the sea heavy objects. And of course, these doors were made of gold and precious metals, etc. And they told him, you have to throw one of the doors out of the board, into the sea. And so, very heavy of heart, he threw it to the sea. And then further on, they said to him, you have to throw the second door. If not, we're not going to make it. He says, no way. And he attached himself to the door. He says, if you're throwing the door, you throw me with the door. He says, no way. I built this. I want to bring to the temple of Hashem in Jerusalem. I'm not letting go of it. And in the midst of the Mesiras Nefesh that this Noahide showed, that he was not ready, he was ready to give up his life to bring the door to the temple, and one of the doors. And suddenly the storm got serene and quiet down. Everybody understood that there was something special going on, and they didn't force him to throw the door, of course. And when they got to the shore of Israel, so a miracle happened, another one, that they found the second door by the shore, by the beach. Of course, should have sung, but it was there. They took it, brought it to the temple, and put it as this beautiful gate from the women's section into the Kohanim section, the Azara, and where the Mizbeach is, the Mizbeach, the altar. And therefore, these doors were the donation of a Noahide to the temple. So, long story short, and you will see more in the Noahide Academy, there's a full discussion. The third temple is going to be built by Hashem, if it's going to be built by men, and different opinions saying how they conciliate one with each other. So the Rebbe states that the third temple is built already by Hashem on high, and the Mashiach will only have to put the doors in their places. And actually, after a number of years of, every year studying the same laws of the Beis Hamikdash, and every year we study the same laws and all the little details of the Lishkata, Kelim, the compounds, the rooms of the instruments of music, and the different instruments of the Kohanim, and all of the little details, etc. That the Sharei Nikanor was actually the doors that they were the reference, Mashiach to put them, Mashiach, the Jewish Mashiach, is going to put those doors into the temple, and that's set for the third temple. So you see a beautiful illustration of the synchronicity between the Jews and the Noahides as coronating Hashem as king of all reality by this, the gates from the Izrat Nashim to the Azara. Of course, again, there's many dimensions to it. We're barely scratching the surface, but this is the point that I wanted to bring today for regarding the temple. Okay. Page 48. Okay, I was looking at it. It's 48. Okay, of the tract on prayer, and we're gonna delve into it a bit, and then we're gonna do a practical exercise on the meditation of the first prayer that we say in the morning, Modeh. Okay. So if you have the page 48, we're going to consider the true avoida being literally translated as work or service. And you already know that avoida is tefillah, is prayer. What is true work? True work is to connect to things. And it's about connecting infinite and finite. So for that, we need to perform what it's called hitbonenut. Hitbonenut means meditation, and the root of the word lehitbonen comes from the root boneh, which means to build. So Jewish meditation is about building a ladder to ascend new levels of consciousness and absorption of the infinite divine light. So, as you see in the text there, it states, even though the true service of of a heart of prayer requires exertion, requires the person to exert himself. It's not a simple exercise. Spiritual and physical toil. Be'igiyat nefesh, rigiyat basar. Dahainu igiyat hamoach be'iun gadol. That the brain has to exert himself in a profound way to achieve a profound attachment, a great concentration and a profound attachment with intense focus on the concept at hand. So to elucidate and meditate upon a concept extensively and all of its details, and to familiarize himself with the subject by employing explanations that he knows from before or that he originates at the time, all require much time, an hour or more. All this should not be as when one merely studies, rather one should connect his inner core to the essence of the concept's theme that he comprehends. And it is this that enables the person to understand the concept's multitude of details to a greater degree than he had beforehand when he had first studied the subject. Many ideas will occur to him on how to bring the contemplative subject near to himself, how to make it something personal. He will understand every detail of the concept and the concept as a whole much more profoundly. For concentrating upon the concept's nucleus causes a resultant revelation of the concept's details. The intent here is not to essentially point of the cognitive process, but to the essence of the matter being comprehended, so that the matter will be assimilated and well settled in his mind. I.e., that means that the godly matter will sit securely in a refined state within his mind, and the light will radiate openly and palpably in his mind. So let us consider for a moment, what is it called exertion of the mind while meditating upon a concept in prayer? First level is, of course, to understand the simple meaning of the words that we are reading, right? We read, for example, in the prayer of Modeh, yeah, I offer thanks to you. You can see it on page 12 of the prayer booklet. I offer thanks to you. In Hebrew, it's written Modeh ani lefanecha. So the Modeh, the acknowledgement, precedes the I. Modeh ani, it's not I offer thanks to you, really literally, is Modeh, acknowledgement. If there is no yet nobody there, which is the very, if there is a mimer of the Rebbe, Sikha, in the essence of Hasidus, and it's all the mimer, like this one, this tractor on prayer, all on the Modeh ani, all of it on the Modeh ani. It's one of the mimer of Hasidus that I plunged myself for a good period of time with some other students, Bochurim, in those days were not married yet, and it caused a real excitement. You do understand that Modeh ani, you all know that on the sixth day of creation, when Hashem created Adam, the human being, right? What did Adam do on the day of his creation? On the few minutes later, right? He invited everyone to come and to prostrate in front of the Creator, to come to pray to Hashem, to say, wow, what a world you have made. Wow, look at the trees and the rivers and the oceans and the mountains. Wow, it's beautiful. You could have made like a black cube, something, and with white balls, like, it could have been boring, right? But no, he created this beautiful thing called the world. So Adam immediately what motivated him to come in front of his creator and bring everybody with him and to prostrate to the creator? What was it? Was it the excitement of the heart? What was it? Was it the fact that he realized that this could have been some other way? What was it? There was a bitul, a tachlis abitul. The discussion with the creator can only have place in this unique space where there is no I. So we can ask the question, so who are you going to talk to? If there is no I, if there is no two people talking back and forth, who's going to be talking here? Who's acknowledging what, or who's acknowledging who? It seems to be a contradiction. So if we say in the morning, Moide ani, Moide, acknowledge. Literally is Moide, acknowledge. Moide from Lashon Oda'a, Toda. Can Toda, Toda. When you say thank you, necessarily there's someone that gives you a gift, and then you say thank you, as I received your gift, right? So what's Moide? Moide ani lefanecha. What's not a Moide? It says ani modeh lecha toda rabba. I thank you. You know, if someone brings you a coffee, you say thank you. There's two beings here, one bringing the coffee, one receiving the coffee, right? So in the morning, you say Moide. Moide what? Who's Moide? Who's Moide bichlal? Who's there to say Moide? If there is no I, who's there to say Moide? What excited Adam to come on the first day of his creation, to come and prostrate himself in front of the Creator? He didn't felt his own existence. He didn't have eaten from the tree of knowledge yet. He didn't felt himself as a separate part of his Creator. He didn't even felt that he was receiving from the Creator or something. So Moide ani lefanecha, the acknowledging, that's the place where we meet our Creator. When immediately when we awake, we don't start thinking about the bank account and what's going on at work or this or the other. Moide, we don't even, our seichel, our intellect is not yet betokef. It's not yet imposing himself, right? The intellect is not yet imposing himself. And we already say, Moide ani. That's the moment. That's the moment where we truly know who we are. Are we a true servant of Hashem? But it's a beseder. Sometimes we will feel those moments where we start thinking about other stuff. Nevertheless, tomorrow we'll do it again, and the next day we'll do it again, and the next day we'll do it again, until we get there. Moide ani, Moide, the acknowledgement that we are the acknowledgement. We are not a separate entity from Hashem. That's why we're saying it immediately when we awaken. We are the acknowledgement. We are that part of Hashem which is able to receive the revelation. The other part is only essence. There is no revelation there. So we acknowledge. What do we acknowledge? Acknowledging is perceiving revelation, right? So Moide ani lefanecha, we are acknowledgement at that moment that we are that other side of the coin. Hashem is the essence, and so we are the revelation. That's what the Moide states. Then Moide ani, let's say that. Then the ani is going to come at some point, right? We have to, maybe it will, maybe. if we get rid of the tree of knowledge, the ani is not going to. Well, still, it's true that Hashem wants each person to have a personality, each person to have a unique perception of that revelation. Each one of us sitting here has that unique face, unique perception, unique revelation of the interiority of Hashem. That's our face. Okay? Each one of us is a unique, singular expression of the revelation of the Creator. So the Ani Beseda, as it explains, okay, Modeh Ani, I acknowledge you, and immediately I accept that this form that this form, right, that each one of us has, is that which is going to acknowledge you beyond this form. I have this form, so I can recognize you in all forms. So therefore, Modeh, Kodim called Modeh, I acknowledge. No, not the I. First acknowledgement. Okay, first acknowledgement. That's the unity beyond all forms, beyond all people, trees, and mountains, beyond all forms, there is acknowledgement. That's what the essence of prayer is. All the entities of the world are constantly in prayer to Hashem. They recognize, they don't recognize their form. They don't have consciousness like a human being to appreciate the revelation. But we have, and that's what we were discussing this morning about the Garden of Eden. If a person wants to have a Noahide has a share, Noahide is who is an observant Noahide, has a share in the world to come, in the resurrection of the dead. But in a general sense, if you want a share in the Garden of Eden, this is it. This is the opportunity. When we ponder these concepts in the Hasidus, which is the fifth level of the Torah, right? That's what your share, that's your relationship to Mashiach is, right? Mashiach comes to set free the Jewish people from the constraints of this world and makes our relationship possible between Noahides and Jews. That's the halacha that she'abud malchuyot, there will be no more nations trying to control the Jews, and therefore it's like someone, God forbid, trying to suffocate another person, right? Why does he suffocate? Because he doesn't want to hear it. He wants to, God forbid, I'm using a very strong image. I don't like these images whatsoever, but it was kind of this thing. But so therefore, when you give yourselves, nobody forces you to be here. You all believe in the oneness of Hashem. You all try to serve him in the best way. Nobody is pushing you, nobody's obligating you to be here, but you want to. So the Garden of Eden is this level of where the Shekhinah shines from the Torah study that we did in this world. And the Torah study specifically of Hasidus. Hasidus are the we have clothes, we have the jacket, and we have the shirt. And I don't want to get very but the intimate most part, the skin, so to speak, is the Yechida, is the fifth level of the Torah, which is Hasidus. So if you want to have a skin in the Garden of Eden, to interact there, to be able to experiment that dimension, that's what Hasidus is all about. Okay, that's what we learned here. So the prayer says, Modeh ani lifanecha. So acknowledgement, I, the form, lifanecha, in front of you. That's the very first law in the Shulchan Aruch, in the code of Jewish law says, Das tomi lifnei mi ata oimet. Right? We should know constantly in front of who we're standing. Lifnei melech malchei amlachim, in front of the King of Kings, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, constantly, every moment of our life. Oh, and I remember, right, 9 years ago, considering this law, and I went fast to my Rav and I said, when you start to become, sometimes you read something and you don't realize exactly what you're reading, right? You say it many times, and you don't realize it was always there. So I remember that preceding morning, I came, said, Israel, איך יכול להיות, איך אפשר לחיות, איך אפשר לזוז, איך אפשר לעשות משהו. How can you integrate a state of consciousness of to know in front of you, standing constantly? How can you move left or right? How can you do something? We're standing constantly in front of Melech Malchi Amlachim, and one right now he's making it keilu. He's making it, reading a book, read the black letters on white paper, read it. But in a couple of years or so, in a couple of minutes, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will shine forth with a full disclosure of his light, of his infinite light, and we'll actually be there. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to shine, and we have to have a good pair of sunglasses if we don't want to be blurred, because at that moment we can no longer see anything. We can no longer see no strawberry pies and no flowers and no dolphins and no cute little Nemos. Well, how are we going to see all that? How are we going to see all that? We have to be able to have read that sentence so many times, the Modeh Ani, every morning, Modeh Ani L'fanecha, to at least acquire a little bit of shades that will allow us to be able to withstand that moment. So Modeh Ani L'fanecha, we're meditating, yes, exertion of the mind, that's what we're doing. And we have to do it for a couple of weeks until we absorb it, and then we have to do it again and do it again, right? We do every single day the same prayer. We read exactly the same text, right? Every single day. One could say, you get bored of reading the same text every single day. How is it possible that you read a full book every morning? You read 85 pages of the exact same text, right? That we're reading for since the times of the second Beis, of the second Beis Hamikdash, right? When Anshe Knesset Agdola composed the prayer to replace the service of the temple, right? So that we say, Modeh Ani L'fanecha, I acknowledge that I will conserve my form in front of you the day that you will disclose your infinite light, in the day of the redemption, when in chapter 3 of Tanya we have meditated, and please go back to it, when he will remove the shield of Elohim, when he will remove the shield of the physical envelope of creation, and we will see his essential light shining forth. Oh my goodness. Just to and we should be mindful of that statement of our sages that say, when we walked in the street, when we walk on the sidewalk, and if we were not thinking about how we're going to do another post in the Noahide Academy, and how we're going to publicize another little bit of light into this world, and how we're going to help another person, if we not live in such a way, we walk in the street with an empty head, God forbid, the stones will tell us, who gave you the right to walk upon me as I fulfilled my purpose? Did you? Were you longing for salvation all the days of your life? Were you longing for serving Hashem with the full thrust of your heart? What would you be busy with? We'll say the stones of the sidewalk. It's better to know it beforehand than to be catch, unprepared. I'm definitely not a judge. If something, I'll be a lawyer. I'll be there with a table for how many we're going to be. We're going to sit there. And when they start coming about, it says, oh, they're with me. So they're with me. What? Just a second. Tea for everybody. Say, Modeh Ani L'fanecha, acknowledge I in front of you. You ought to get to the essence of your being. The Ata, which is the Aleph Tav, all the possibilities of all forms. And the Hey, which is Malchus, which is this physical world, which is when we synchronize our speech. And that's what we're doing. Modeh, we say it, right? We come up in the morning, when you get up, you rise a little bit your head above your pillow, and you say, Modeh ani lefanecha melech chai. Yeah? We are not yet completely there, but that's exactly the thing. That we can be, we can be without all of the I get dressed up like this, I go to the office. So maybe the form that we have, it will be conserved even at that moment where all forms will cease to be a container. Okay, his essence will be revealed in everything. Okay, in the stones of the wall, in the flowers, in the waves of the ocean, in the little grains of sand, all will shine forth his essential light. It will mean that our mind is going to go a little bit high wired if we're not prepared. You think that this is complicated. It's not complicated. It should be a pleasure. I know that, but then when there will be tzirufim, blig vul, when you will be in, it's like, sailing in a boat on a ship, and it's always, you're feeling a little bit seasick in the beginning, but if you spend enough time, and Baruch Hashem, we're doing okay for another couple of years, a few years, and then if you it's the contrary then you get used to it, right? The balancing, right? The mitnadeh, yeah, the movements, you become, and then if you go to shore, if you put your foot in the ground, you feel, oh, this is strange. Shouldn't this be moving? And suddenly you're there, you says, oh my goodness, what is this? I don't feel so good right now. This should be moving. This should be moving. You get you get seasick, you get land sick. You get land sick. It's not normal. This should be moving. This should be moving. So Chassidus is supposed to ignite that movement within the soul as a flickering flame that constantly tries to reintegrate its source. That's the way we should live. So lefanecha melech chai v'kayim, king alive, melech chai v'kayim, king alive and existing. Yeah, living king we translated in English, and v'kayim, and exists. What's the living king? What's melech chai v'kayim? Right? You see, living an eternal king. What's melech chai? What is our faith in Hashem? Do we here sit in this room and we say that I have faith in Hashem? Or we trust in Hashem? What is it? What is it, Stefan? Do we trust him, or do we believe him, or what is it? What would you say?
I trust in Hashem.
Yafeh.
Yeah.
Mitsuyan.
No fear.
Opa, now you're talking. Yafeh mod. So I had someone today, someone that I know for a couple of years, telling me that, you know what? There's a certain concept of the chozrei b'tshuva, those that come back to their identity, right? Those that we're not so observant and we're not so into, the depth of living and to be in a relationship with Hashem and learning and davening, etc. But so they come back, right? There's also that the concept the other way around. It's a strange concept. I agree with you. I don't know, but some people have challenges, and they, at some point in their lives, they believe, and at some points they go retrograde, go back, and they start asking themselves questions. Yeah, you know what? Maybe it's just a fantasy. Maybe Hashem is just something for us to spend some time. I don't know, and what matters is really the stones and the what do you call it, the barzel, the iron, and maybe that's what it is. Should I waste my time? Should anyone of us waste his time with transcendence, with depth, with true feelings, with knowledge, with contemplation? Right? Maybe Hashem doesn't. So sometimes, the Rebbe Rashab is saying here, in order, to be a servant of Hashem, we have to be deep. We have to exert our minds. There are those that, do holes on the ground, and they do it with their muscles, and they sweat, and there are those that are working car factories, and they're all day putting the little pieces together, etc. And they're tired at the end of the day of putting all of the pieces together. We definitely should exert our minds to be able to retain infinity. Of course, it requires avoida. Of course, it requires exertion and an effort. Of course, it requires no pain, no gain, right? That a person prefers that he has one line of his own, one measure of his own, than 9 measures from his friend. And our sages stated that a person should not come to this world to eat the bread of shame. But he prefers that he exerted himself, and that he pulled his sleeves up, and he exerted it, and he went there on his own. He got to Jerusalem with the strength of his legs. He prefers that than just to be carried by. And then you get there, and who does really get there? Are you sure it's you? Do you feel that you got there? Which part of you got there? Did you got there all together? We need to exert ourselves as we should acquire our own portion in the world to come. For those of that we read the Pirkei Avos in the summer, right? Generally between Pesach and Shavuos, we continue it. Chabad, we continue it all summer until Rosh Hashanah. 6 chapters of Pirkei Avos, Ethics of Our Fathers. It's stated there, the first prayer that we say before we start reading the Mishnayos, we say, Kol Yisrael Yeshem Chelek Le'olam Haba, Sheneimar Kulam Tzadik V'chul. Says, all of Israel has a share in the world to come. Sheneimar Kulam Tzadikim, that they are all tzadikim, they're all righteous. Now, all the Noahides that take upon themselves the 7 commandments, as you all know, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu tziva Moshe Rabbeinu in the Torah on Mount Sinai. And that's why you do it. You don't do it because it's nice, you understand it, and it's beneficial, etc. You don't do it because of that. You do it because you believe in it. You because that's who you are. Yeah. So in that case, yesh leim chelek l'olam haba, ken yesh leim chelek l'olam haba. Which olam haba we're talking about? Tchias hamesim. Now, within the Tchias hamesim, which part are you going to really inherit? Which part is going to be your part? Right? Everybody has a share in the world. Those that connect to Hashem with the bitul, with the nullification of the Modeh. The Modeh, what are we saying? We are enacting the same thing that we say on Mount Sinai, Na'aseh v'nishma. We will do, and then we'll understand. So we wake up in the morning, we rise up the heads out of the bed. We say, Modeh ani lefanecha, like a kid, like a 3-year-old, like a 4-year-old. Modeh ani lefanecha. We're not there thinking, we say it. But which chelik? Well, you can say Modeh Ani all of your life with that never even stopped. Like today, we're the 18th of Tammuz, sitting here, all of us together. And we can never maybe have spend our lives never considering this, what we're discussing tonight on the Modeh Ani Lefanecha. And we said it. Everybody's on the train, but there's fourth class, and there's third class, and second class, and then there's first class. בסדר, איך אומרים? כולם ברכבת, איפה אתה רוצה לשבת? Where do you want to sit? There are those that don't care, they don't understand, they don't mind, they don't, whatever. When they'll get there, they will say, oh, you know what? First class is nicer. You have always someone there, you know, more tea, more coffee, a little orange juice, some sandwiches, salmon, some champagne, some caviar, some foie gras, kosher foie gras, some leviasin, some shorabah, some yain mishumar. What is it going to be, sir, madam? So, Al pi rotzen kiblu aleihem. Al pi rotzen kiblu aleihem. According to their will, they received upon them. It means how much we wanted it. How much we wanted it. You think that Hashem needs a world? You think that Hashem doesn't need anything? Hashem wants a world. So too we should, that's what we do on Rosh Hashanah, right? What we do in Rosh Hashanah, we say, Hashem, we also want the world. He is already in that state. In Rosh Hashanah, he's already in that state. Right? The apex of davening, even though in Yom Kippur he's even go deeper, but the Yom Chasunasei, the day of the ultimate wedding, etc. But Rosh Hashanah, we say to Hashem, he's already like, guys, you know what? You know, it says, Hashem says, he's sitting in his high and uplifted throne. Means that, you know, those are the days that it's incumbent upon us to show him that we really want, the world. And we'll say malchuyos, we will say kingships, shofarot, v'chulei, and we will tell him that we want the world. We will not start doing this. No, but I'm not happy with this. I'm not happy with that. I'm happy with that. If we're not happy with this, we don't want the world, right? Are you sure that you really want the? So Hashem in that day, he goes beyond. And we have to show them that we want the world. Okay, that's what we do in Rosh Hashanah. So, Melech Chai V'Kayam, that's our faith in the oneness of Hashem. To believe in Hashem, it's to know that which you do not see right now. We do not see right now that He is bringing the entire world into being as we speak. Do you want the world? He wants that world through the entire year around. He is the one. Ani amatchil, says HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ani amatchil, I start, I begin. Ani amatchil. Rosh Hashanah, 2 days. We're there to justify him, to tell him. But Modeh Ani, is that Rosh Hashanah for us? Yes? The Modeh Ani, you say, Modeh Ani lefanecha. I also want the world. You know, I acknowledge I also want the world. I don't know exactly why, and I don't care. I want the world because you want the world and I'm here, that's what I'll do. I also want the world because you want the world. We both want the world. That's it. No questions asked. In the morning, I'll tell you that physiologically, right? I think we mentioned this at some point. Physiologically, when you do that, you say the entire Modeh Ani lefanecha melech chai v'kayam shechizalta bi nishmati v'chamlacha v'munatecha. Those 15 seconds, it's the time for the heart to transit to the new stationary position, to sitting, right? And now to start pumping. Now he has to vanquish the force of gravity, right? When you're sleeping, there's less force of gravity. So he's more relaxed. He doesn't have to make so much effort. But when you're waking up, your heart needs to make more effort. And yeah, when we're young, then when you start, the heart also starts getting used. So it's a protective factor to say Modeh ani lefanecha, a protective factor for the heart. Physiological. It was proven. It was someone mentioned a couple of months ago. Of course, the Torah saves life, not only spiritually but also physically at all levels. So Modeh ani lefanecha melech chai v'kayam. That he's alive, he brings the world every single moment out of nothingness, so that the rotzen, the pnimius haketer, the interiority of his crown. When we reach the interiority of his crown, is that we want his world. We want him. We want what he wants. Do we ask ourselves questions still? Michelle, do you still have questions? At that moment, yes, tell me.
Is it better to repeat sentences in psalms or in prayers to more feeling intense the power in it, or just say one sentence?
So it's better to do, like right now, we're meditating upon the meaning of the words. And you can do it again tomorrow and the next day, okay? Like that's the text that I actually brought here. Yeah, and there are some interesting meditations on Chabad.org by Rabbi Tzvi Freeman, very good, where he ponders every single word. And it's a beautiful way of repeating it time and time and again. And that's through repetition, yes? It's through repetition that we'll acquire a feeling, a true feeling, an everlasting feeling, an essential thing that will become part of who you are, will become a second nature, will become your true nature. And that will be able to sustain that day. So on the morning, we just say it, okay? Whether we were more present, less present, irrelevant. We say it. What matters, okay, is the repetition. We said it before, we studied it before. And what's interesting is that it's not to do, the fact that we're pondering, it's not that we're going to be more sophisticated at the moment that we're going to say Modeh ani lefanecha. On the contrary, we're going to become even more humble, even more simple. It's going to go back and back and back, from an adult into, it's going to be more and more and more and more childish every morning. It's going to become more and more and more childish, right? Ani mitpalel ladas ze hatinoik. I pray in order to know that is the child. That is the child with me. We all in front of the Creator are like children. Aren't we children unto our Creator? Yes? The biggest Talmid Chacham, the biggest sophisticated mind that you can possibly imagine sitting in front by you. Imagine the Rebbe Shneur Zalman. Imagine the Baal Shem Tov. Imagine Yaakov Avinu sitting next to you. And when he says Modeh ani lefanecha in the morning, it's a Modeh ani of a child. It's a Modeh ani when Yaakov Avinu wake up in the morning, when he slept on the Arabais, he said Modeh ani lefanecha like a child. The biggest Talmid Chacham with the most simple person on this planet is exactly the same in front of the infinity of our Creator. Oh, but the avoid of Chabad is the beetle. You know that joke? I told you that joke. There's these yeshivas of the the Vishnitz, there were two kids sitting on the bench, and they're all about ik bin gar nicht, yeah, ik bin gar nicht, right? I'm nothing. They repeat this to themselves, I'm nothing. And all about is about, with the Musa, no, I don't like chocolate. He likes chocolate, but no, I don't like chocolate. I don't like chocolate. Pashanu, Savanu, Chatanu, Lefanecha, hitting himself, hitting, no, I'm nothing. I don't want to feel my animal soul. I'm nothing. And comes a family of Chabadnik moved to the town. So the Chabad kid, came to the yeshiva, and he was there sitting by them, and he says, "Gavani, ik bin gar nicht." Me too, I'm nothing. So the two kids sitting there on the side said, look to each other, says, "Look at him. First day around here, he already thinks that he's a nothing." So the bitul is that space of meeting. And you know how you bitul, you mevatel seichel, how you say it with the song, how you nullify your intellect. Say, Modeh ani lefanecha melechai ve'ekayam shechazarta bi nishmati bechemla rabba emunatecha. That's how we learn and we sing it, and that's our avoida. That's our service to, and that's only the beginning to nullify all of that which could be an interference between us and the essence of life. That which constantly, right? So Modeh Ani allows us to breach that. Okay? So Modeh Ani lefanecha melech chai v'kayam shechazarta bi, that you have returned to me, shechazarta bi nishmati, that you have turned to me my soul. Your faithfulness is great. Meaning that, as you all know, sleeping is 1/60th of death. Yes? When we go to sleep, it's like a tantamount of a 60th experience of death. It means that the highest levels of our souls, the Noahide and the neshama, leave the body. The nefesh stays. Okay, the physiological aspect of the soul remains, right? The beating of the heart, the lungs, we continue to breathe during the night, both Hashem, right? And the lymphatics and the immune system and the kidneys, everybody continues to do his own work. We're just not there no more. So the Shechazarta b'nishmati, you have returned what? You have returned the ruach, the neshama. You have returned my capacity to feel. You have returned my capacity to contemplate. You have returned my capacity to acknowledge the beauty. Chizalta b'nishmati, nishmat chaim, a breath of life. Okay, your faithfulness is great, that you will continue to maintain, to return my capacity of feeling now and in redemption, in the full, complete, revealed redemption to each and every one. That great is your faithfulness. That you have, if you restore me now, you should restore me also in redemption when your infinite light will be revealed. So to restore to me my capacity of feeling anything and my capacity of contemplating anything, if not, what could we? If a person was closed in a black room, imagine, God forbid, for a long time, And then we bring him out with a thing in the eyes, with a veil in the eyes, and we open it up in the beach at 12 at noon right now in July. In Tammuz on the 15th of Tammuz, the 17th of Tammuz, or the 18th of Tammuz. And the first moments, a person cannot see anything, right? Cannot feel anything, cannot contemplate anything. So that your faithfulness is great, that still then, even though I'm a small person, and I have toiled all of my life, and I'll try to do the best that I could, and still, nevertheless, there were levels that, who knows, can we reach them? And nevertheless, that your faithfulness is great. If you know, Hashem doesn't. You might not have completed the entire Shas. You might not have. We might not have completed the entire Shas. Nevertheless, you think that Hashem is going to say, no, you know what? Finish Baba Bata. Finish Yevamot. Yeah, go back. He says, no, that your faithfulness is great. If I was there, if I see a Modeh Ani with us, if I want the world that he wants, if I stop opposing myself to the world the way he wants the world, if I stop trying to convince him that the world should be, what a ridiculous thought. If I stop letting all those stuff getting in the way, between us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, therefore, Rabbi Munasecha will be there, and the share in the world to come in the resurrection is going to be a real share. Is going to be something that looks like really what we wanted it to be. But that's really the authentic time. That's going to be really the authentic time. If we're able to do it right, some people will do it, they come and pray. I'll tell you the joke, right? And then we'll conclude this other sentence. Says, there's this type of people that come to shul, or they come to their morning prayer, or they come in their living room, and they come to pray. So they open the book. It says, Hashem, he says, Adonai, Lord of the universe, who reigned before anything was created, blah, 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 blah. Hashem, everything's fine by you, everything's fine by me, let's keep it that way. All right, I do my thing, I read what's written here, and you keep me healthy and wealthy, etc. Fine by you, fine by me, let's keep it that way. So, we are trying to convince him to what we want the world to be. Right? Let us do our thing. Just don't interfere. Just don't make it worse. God forbid. God forbid. And then there are those of us who reach prayer and say, Ribono shel Olam, tell לי, Sifatai tiftach yufi agid teilatecha. Open my lips so I praise you. Open my lips so I can praise you. So I can exalt. So B'ezrat Hashem, if 300 years ago you would not hear this, your sharing the word to come would be compromised. If the Baal Shem Tov didn't came and say and look into the essence of each one of us sitting here, I would not be here. If the Baal Shem Tov didn't come and say he traveled for months to go and see every person in and to hear Blakes the Eibishter, to see blessed is Hashem, to hear the blessed Hashem, like when I ask you how you're doing, you say Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem, hakol tov. You need to be sophisticated to be, to the entire mission, entire Bavata. You need to, when you say it with a full heart. The Baruch Hashem, I want the same world that you want. Yes. And I'm not here to tell you how you should run the world and how you should do the world. And I think that in Kazakhstan and in Bolivia, you should augment the value of the dollar so people live in a better way, right? Because there in Bolivia or in Venezuela, the dollar is worth $0.0000024, and people earn like $5 a month, which is crazy. I agree with you, but we're not his secretary. We're not Hashem's secretary. No me, no you, no the Rebbe, we're not his secretary. We're not here to say, Hashem, you know what? Your world could be a lot better. We're not. That's not our function. That's not our purpose. That's not who we are. We open my lips so I can pronounce your praise. I can sing to you. I can sing to you. Ken, the Vayichulu Hashamayim va'aretz v'chol tzva'am. Yeah, Vayichulu Hashamayim va'aretz v'chol tzva'am. That you have created all of the creatures, and we're here to bridge that. We're here to bridge that. So B'ezrat Hashem, may we merit to say Modeh Ani, like, with sincerity, and B'ezrat Hashem will see fit to give us a beautiful share in this world, in the world to come, and B'ezrat Hashem, we will live with greater insight. We will be more loving, more loved, more considered. B'ezrat Hashem, may Hashem see fit that through the merit of each one of us, B'ezrat Hashem, we will see in our day, in flesh, the great day, where all will come together, and we'll truly be able to appreciate a good Cabernet Sauvignon in the table of Imot HaMashiach, where we'll see the Yain HaMeshumach, and we will see that this was all an akdome. It was only an introduction to the depths of. Just to think about it, I'm excited about it. I cannot even communicate, and this life is for us to say Modeh Ani, for us to say Modeh Ani, to grasp it, and then we'll enter into the world, into the day. Yes, that the Yom Echad will be that day of 1,000 years, that we'll see with the pristine light. We will see all of the world, what we have seen in this world, but we will see it. We will see it with a pristine light. We will see it with the true light, the true colors, the true taste of strawberries, the true aroma of the flowers. Imagine walking through this garden, this paradise, this world, the world that he wants, the world that we want, and to see that pristine light. It will no longer feel like the tomatoes have no taste, even the cucumbers have no taste, especially this year is the year of the Shemitah, so everything comes from Chutz La'aretz, so I know what I'm talking about. I mean, this year especially. And B'ezrat Hashem, after Rosh Hashanah, we start eating again the tomatoes of Eretz Yisrael and the milafefot of Eretz Yisrael and everything, and soon, silence, you start feeling the taste of things. So B'ezrat Hashem, may we reach that state where we'll be able to enjoy the creation of our Creator with the full thrust. And for that, we are all have the freedom to do it. And he's not gonna push us. Is only we can push ourselves. B'ezrat Hashem. Ken Yiratzon. V'nei Amen.